Hi folks, I'm Jason Mitchell. Welcome to ReedSports.com. We've had a lot of fun designing a lot of different fishing actions over the years. The reason I say fishing actions, there's one time where there wasn't a lot available to ice anglers, and I remember even 10 years ago there was this misconception that ice anglers were cheap and then they didn't want specialized gear. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. Ice anglers want good equipment, and they want equipment that's designed with a purpose, that's designed for a specific application. That's what we've done with Jason Mitchell rods. Now, there's a lot of different series that we've designed over the years. We have walleye and species-specific actions. We've got panfish actions. But I'll show you a few tips here real quick. We'll just talk about panfish here for a second. If you look at different panfish rods, I'll show you a couple examples. Here's 3 different good examples of panfish rods. And a lot of people ask, well, which rod is the best? There's 3 different rod tips right here, okay? Which rod is the best? Well, really what you have to remember is that all these different rod actions really complement each other. This is a spring bobber rod design on top here. It's got a glow bead of a very light wire that's loaded fast to a graphite tip. This is tied right on the blank for a little bit extra durability because, again, I got tired of using spring bobber rods, and when I got to the lake or got out fishing, the spring bobber was somewhere in the bottom of the bucket. So they permanently attached to the rod. What this rod does is allows you to fish outside that larger loop, a little bit more ice resistant. You can bend the spring bobber around to adjust your own fishing style. You can even cut off one side and even lighten it up if you wanted to lighten it up even more so. But this rod is a very good rod that's very versatile whenever you need to see the bite. Now the other thing to consider is that if you look at these 2 rods, this is a graphite rod versus a spring bobber rod. Now they're both graphite, but the presentation is going to be much different. This rod here, you look to see the bite. This rod here, you feel the bite. But the same exact jigging motion, each of these rods is going to give the presentation a much different look and feel. The graphite, for example, is going to give that jig a lot harder thump and pound in the water, which can be really good for triggering fish and pulling fish in from a long distance. Whereas the spring bobber is going to soften and subdue that motion, make it more fluid in the water, where basically just rocks that jig enough to stop the spinning. And so each rod has its place. When the fish are biting good, it doesn't matter. But what you'll find, especially as the sun gets higher and lower, is that one presentation will outshine or work better than the other. The last rod we'll talk about is just panfish. This is a sanded fiberglass rod called a meat stick, which has a very fast tip that loads to a fast backbone. Again, I've loved noodle rods my whole life. I've caught a tremendous amount of fish on a noodle rod because it just loads up and you set the hook. The problem is it's hard to set the hook with a noodle rod, and so that's what we've done is we've developed that fast tip where you get a very fast response. And so again, with this particular rod, you can see the bite, it loads up, you get high batting average, you hook up a lot of fish, but again, with that soft tip, it subdues and causes a nice motion on the jig when you rock it or bounce it in place. A few tips to help you catch a few more fish this way.